So in the last video, I know I asked you guys what seats are you running on your MR2s? What seats do you recommend? But me, not being the most patient person in the world, ended up buying seats the very next day. And Veilside knows the definition, at least in this case, probably not the kit, but in this case, they undersold, over-delivered, because they told me that these seats would be coming in 3 months, and they ended up here, the very next week. So I'm really excited about that. So let's get this thing unboxed and see what these seats look like. If you look at the box that they came in, it's hard to believe that there are two seats in that skinny box, but looks like there may be some assembly required. So the hardest part is done. The box came apart a little bit easier than I was expecting. Scissors required. Y'all, I am so excited about this. It was a little bit more than I was hoping to spend. But the moment I saw these, I just knew that I kind of had to have them. With this build, it is going to be a bit pricey, and I could have waited a little longer. At the end of the day, I kind of felt if I didn't get these seats, every single time I stepped in the car, I'd kind of hope that I had them in there. So this way, I kind of get what I want. All right, guys. So here it is. It looks so good. So no assembly required. It looks like no assembly required. It looks like it just kind of looks as if the seats kind of just reclined 100% of the way back, and that's how they were sent. We have kind of the Veilside placards there. Y'all, they look so good. All right, so these are the Veilside placards. I think these go on the back of the seats. And here are the seats in all of their glory. I will say that one thing that it really took me a while to get used to when I was purchasing these things is that they weren't leather. I've always associated, leather with being quality, and that if you want something quality, you don't want cloth. But here I am spending more money than I ever would have thought on cloth seats. I will say it looks marvelous. It feels great. Let's try to recline this thing up so we could see some of that carbon fiber weave. I will say that one thing that kind of took me by surprise whenever I was getting the seat up is that the way that the seat goes backward and forwards, it's kind of like with this rotating mechanism here. And with all the cars and all the seats I've ever owned, it's always been that kind of thing that you pull up and you adjust the seat that way. And that's usually a much quicker way to set your preferred seat adjustments. But I suppose that, since these are supposed to be, racing seats, that these are probably a little bit more secure than that kind of mechanism. So probably a bit more inconvenient to adjust your seat on the go. And I don't know why I feel more worried about this breaking than I would a standard mechanism. But that's how it is. But let's look at this, beautiful carbon fiber weave. Man, it just looks good. And this is where the Veilside placard will go. I don't know why they just didn't kind of put it there themselves. I guess they wanted to give people the option on whether or not they wanted to, freely advertise, on the back of their seat. But I'm not really sure what that's about, considering you have this statement here, Veilside, fortune favors the bold. They want to let you know that paying too much on seats is not a stupid idea. It's a bold idea. But man, this looks so good. I cannot wait to get this into the car. It's going to look great. So this is going to be the first thing that will officially start the build. I'm going to put these seats in myself. But the problem with that, guys, the problem that we have here is that, as I said previously, Veilside said it would take me 3 months to get these seats. So I ordered the brackets thinking that whenever I bought these seats, I'd have, 2 or 3 months to work with. These seats came 3 months early. Like, literally, they said it'll take them 3 months. Then they sent me the seats the very next week, which is, again, as I said, the definition of under promise and over deliver. But the unfortunate part is I'm going to have to just kind of store these seats for the next 2 months, waiting to put them inside the car because I don't have the appropriate, hardware to mount it. But yeah, let's take a couple nice cleaner looks at this beautiful seat. I'll just give you guys a kind of in-depth look at kind of what's going on, and then maybe put some slow-mo or something cinematic 120p, whatever. But let's get going. All right, so one cool thing to note is that this is Velcro here. So this kind of pulls off and it is removable. I think the idea here is that if this becomes worn or broken or destroyed in some way, you could just get that replaced. Knowing Veilside's prices, I'm curious to know how much one of these inserts would run you or cost you, but I imagine it would not be very cheap. But you put it there, it stays there, cushion, support for your back. Same thing goes with the bottom of these seats. This part pulls off, connected by Velcro, and just like that. So pretty much what this seat is, it's bound in carbon fiber, and then all of the cushioning and all of the support is kind of just placed in there with these Velcro bits. I think that would be great, or that will be great, whenever it comes to making it look clean over time. You just ask Veilside, hey, I need more of these inserts. But I am curious, how much will that cost, and if you're actually saving anything. When you're spending this much money on seats, which again is more money than anyone should probably pay, or at least for my purposes, you kind of want A1 quality assurance and quality control. I mean, this is nitpicky here. You want that Apple level of craftsmanship, and it just kind of looks like they missed some paint there. I mean, I don't know how this happened, and it's really not that important because no one is ever gonna see this, I guess. But I kind of know it's there, and you want them to be clean. You just want everything about your build to be clean, and you get it right out the box, and it's already kind of not clean. So I'm not gonna complain too much. Whenever I actually ordered these, Veilside actually raised the price of the seats by like $200 or $300 a set, and the same day I was going to order them, and they kind of worked with me and said that they'd honor the old price. So I mean, again, great company, great for them to do that, and I'm thankful. But I mean, it is kind of disappointing to see, especially with your car, you want everything to be clean, at least me. It is kind of sad to kind of see this. The other side, it's a lot cleaner. It doesn't have those kind of obvious imperfections. However, it is starting to bubble a bit on this side. And again, these are all super small things. Now I'm nitpicky. I think the thing is, though, whenever again, you're spending premium money, you want super premium quality, and it just kind of seems that QAQC, and in making it be as amazing and as beautiful as it can be, like perfection. And again, some people will probably say, "Oh, these are cheap racing seats," or these aren't really racing seats because they recline. Or, real seats have to be like buckets or something like that. And I guess in that case, I guess you're right. I don't know anything. I'm building this car because I want it to look cool, and it's what I've always wanted to do. Yeah, again, it's kind of sad to see, but on a 1 to 10 scale, I'd give these seats a nice 10. No regrets. Or 9.5. It could be better. 10 means perfection. I'll give these a 9, 9.5. None of that is going to functionally change how this car looks. It's just going to, not be 100% clean. Right, so these are the bottom of the seats, kind of painted on. You can tell that the welds don't look the cleanest. The further I'm getting through this, the more and more I'm kind of like, what's going on here? I mean, they're painted over, so maybe that looks pretty underneath. I am a certified pressure vessel and piping inspector, and not that this relates, but I've seen a few welds in my day, and I'm not a welding specialist. I'm working on that, but just from appearance wise, they aren't the prettiest, But again, I still no regrets. I think it looks nice. And this is all in places that you're not really going to see, and I'm sure that it's sturdy. I know whenever I was researching these seats, I was trying to find whether or not these are side-mounted or bottom-mounted. There's conflicting information out there. These do appear to be bottom-mounted seats. So maybe they have the option of side-mount as well. I'm not really sure. These don't look functional. These look as if they're just meant to mount this bracket into the body. But yeah. Guys, you might notice that things look a little bit different right now. And that's because, we're on a completely, different day. Had a little emergency come up, had to stop shooting. And, I thought about restarting everything with the second seat. But I kind of felt that would be a little bit disingenuous. So I decided just to pick up where I left off earlier. All right, so now I'm just going to pop a squat in the Veilside seat and see what that looks like. All right. I will say, it feels good. It feels snug. You could definitely feel that the seat kind of holds you better than the stock seats. Your legs kind of feel a bit, narrower. Some people probably not going to like that, but that's kind of the idea with racing seats. They're supposed to make sure that you have, a smaller range of movements around the corners and stuff like that. So, this will completely kind of change, how your seats feel. I will say also, I'm kind of laying it on my, memory foam mattress right now. The seats might also feel a little bit different when you have them mounted in the car, because you're not, you don't sit in your car seats kind of like this. If you ever go inside your car, you notice that your seats are kind of inclined backwards. So, the feel might feel, not what you're going to feel when you have the seats mounted inside the car. But I'm just going to tell you how it feels anyway, even though the feeling will probably be a little bit different. It feels definitely a little tight. I talked about how your legs are kind of pushed together and a little bit more narrow. And maybe that would be alleviated, when the seats are inside the car and, it's kind of inclined backwards. So you kind of sink more into the back of it. But sitting in these right now, I kind of wonder, if your passenger is a big person. I'm not a big guy. I'm not a big boy. I am 5'8". I'm 185 pounds. And, I feel really snug to the point where I'm like, I better not gain any weight because if I do, I'm gonna have trouble sitting in these seats. And also kind of makes you think if your significant other has a little bit of a donk, got like a fat ass or something, like it's like these won't be uh, the most comfortable. But I guess that's kind of the trade-offs that you make when you somewhat get racing seats. Is gonna be more about how you feel. Like if you like that snugness, that would be great for you. But if you wanted something that would be, I mean, they still feel comfortable. I'm not gonna say they're not comfortable. Like the cushions definitely, feel great. But the feel is just completely different. Like I don't really know how to describe it. Um, I know these, side profile things here are supposed to help you when you're cornering a bit, and I could feel that. I kind of get hugged by those when I go left and right. Whereas, if you were in those stock Spyder seats, I mean, there is no side support. But yeah, looking at this, I kind of have no regrets, and I'm extremely excited about these seats. I cannot wait for the brackets to come in. The bracket should come in hopefully March, but it might actually be April. In April will be the time when hopefully, the build starts. I'll try to install these seats myself, and have you guys, be entertained to see how, well that goes. But when it comes to actually getting the build done, I am not doing any of it myself. The air suspension, wheels, tires, suspension, all that stuff, the paint work, all that stuff is being done by a shop. So I'm kind of, at the mercy of his schedule. Dude has a wait list, which I think is a good problem to have because it shows that, he does a good project and the build will be in good hands. I could have, you know, you know, taken this wide body kit to a typical, collision and body shop, but I just did not want to put, this kit's hands in someone where, a wide body project like this would be their first time when this is like one of the biggest, financial moves, I've ever taken. But I digress. Let's get back to talk about these seats. So, in conclusion, let's just go over some of my final thoughts, about these Veilside seats. Let's talk about the materials of construction, particularly where you're going to be sitting. I think it feels really good. I think it, looks very nice. My only concern, my only concern with this material is that I kind of feel like it won't age very well. And there's a couple of reasons for that. You guys know, like when you have like some of those shirts and they just kind of get linty. They have like those tiny little balls everywhere. Those tiny little lint balls, and it just looks like a little frayed mess. I don't know if that look is warranted, but like when I look at this material, I kind of think it's going to end up the same way. I'd be very interested to know if people who've had these seats for a very long time has noticed that same kind of thing, wherever the seats just don't age very well and they look kind of unclean and just like kind of that linty, bulby thing. I'll probably get something from Google Images so you guys could see what I'm talking about. The other thing is like how tight it is whenever sitting in, and of course, racing seats are supposed to hold you. They're supposed to support you. Being tight is the goal. The only thing that I kind of worry about after getting in and out of the seats on my bed, not in the real car, is that your behind kind of rubs on this spot every single time getting in and out of the car, and it makes you think that this material is going to wear off or wear out pretty fast, or at least wear out over time, so that you might wear a hole in these two areas. Well, in this one area, because you're not going to be getting in from the other side of your car. And the reason that's a bit concerning is like, all this could come out, all this could be replaced, but this portion, cannot. And I'm kind of unsure if Veilside would, if you're like, oh, I don't like how this looks, I want to get something similar, if Veilside would be like, all right, we'll just send you this piece. And again, Veilside aren't cheap. I got these seats for about $12.50 each. They just raised their price to I think about $15.50. So you can kind of imagine, like, how do you really think you're going to get that good of a deal if, you send them an email and say, hey, I want these inserts, hey, I want this, like, how much are you going to be spending between that and shipping this stuff all the way, from Japan? That's one thing I just want to put out there and notice. But I think that the seats are very good quality. They look wonderful. And the seats are very, very light. Um, if if I had enough dexterity here, you can almost pick up the whole seats with one hand from the. Actually, I can do it with one hand here very easily. Um, I do work out a bit, but they just feel extremely light, unproblematic. Holding the camera in one hand and picking up, even though how awkward it is, it's still very easy to move around. So that's the carbon fiber at work. It's very light. So yeah, guys, that's the unboxing of these Veilside seats. Very excited about the build. Very excited to have these seats. No buyer's regret at this moment. Um, the only thing more I could tell about these seats are gonna have to come, whenever I have them installed and after they age a bit, and see how it is. Oh yeah, and the last thing, kind of as I said before, if your friend, girl, guy has a little bit of a behind, you kind of wonder if these seats will be comfortable over a long journey. You might find yourself in a position where it'd be advantageous to remove these inserts so they could just fit nicely. But again, that could feel completely different once the seats are mounted inside the car. But yeah, guys, that's a video. That's a wrap. Thank you guys for watching, and feel free to like, share, and subscribe if you want to follow the Veilside build.